What is going on, everyone? It's Ultimate Spy 53 here, and welcome to another reaction video. Today's reaction is a bit different from normal because today I'm actually starting a new reaction series that is completely separate from my regular reaction videos that I make. I was recently looking on Amazon for movie reviews with at least 1 star for even the best movies, and I read a couple of them. For example, Star Wars Episode 8, and some of them are actually bad, but in a funny way. And so I thought, why don't I start a new series where I basically react by reading bad movie reviews on Amazon for some of the best movies out there, at least that I've seen. I don't know how often I'll do this series, but if you guys like it enough, I could do it weekly or bi-weekly. Just let me know in the comments below, or I'll come to a decision myself. I think what I'll do with each episode is I'll read a few of the reviews in a franchise, or if it didn't get a sequel, read a bunch of bad reviews from a bunch of great independent movies. So this is episode 1 of the series, obviously. So I thought I'd start with looking at all the episodic Star Wars movies that have come out. Not the anthologies, since I have not seen Rogue One yet, but basically that's what I'm gonna do. I figured it'd be fun to just have a, because I was reading them, I'm like, oh, some of these are just savage, and like like even the best movies out there get the worst reviews. Like Black Panther got a review about like, oh, it was had terrible acting and it's a black movie. It's like that's completely racist. So I was thinking I could, like, every episode I could just have a, you know, like I could do a Marvel episode, I could do a Disney movie episode, Disney Pixar movie episode, Marvel Fox movies, some of the Spider-Man movies that I liked, and just ones that are any movie that are just really good. I thought I'd do that. So yeah, let's go ahead and start with the first review on Star Wars Episode 1. Okay, so the first review is set on Episode 1. Personally, I love Episode 1. It's a great way to start the franchise. I know people hate them, but I absolutely love them because I grew up on the prequels. Are my first Star Wars movie, so you can't blame me for no, you can't blame me for liking them because they were the first ones that I actually saw. I more familiar with them than the original trilogy. So the first one they have is the plot's terrible, the dialogue is worse. Says nothing. This is on the DVD, by the way. Nothing new here. The plot's terrible, the dialogue is worse. The lame slapsticks humor is borderline offensive. I'm sorry to hear that. And a couple more. Horrible. So bad. I want to have it erased from my memory. Why? It's that bad, huh? It's that bad, really? Wow. Okay, it was terrible. There is a zero. Is there a 0 star setting? It was terrible. Is there a zero? Wow. It's the same comment for the same title. That's funny. Okay, let's see. What else is there? Um, it's a horrible movie. I'm watching with my 6-year-old. He loves it. He gives it 4 stars. It's a horrible movie. It's not that bad. The acting and script were just as bad. I would not recommend this movie. I did not remember this movie being as poorly done as it was. The film quality was poor, and images were not clear. The acting and script were just as bad. I would not recommend this this movie. Wow, that's sad. We all know why the Phantom Menace only gets 1. We all know. Okay, 1 star, right? My husband said, "Oh, this is the longest movie I've ever seen in my life. Can we turn it off?" Really? It's that bad? Wow, it really It's only like a couple of hours. It's not even that bad. It's like it's really action packed too. 1 star. Here's the reason for it. Jar Jar. Did I say more? Okay, here's a really nasty one. I'm just gonna read one more. I don't want this first episode to go too long. The worst movie ever made? Question mark. This movie is so laughably bad. It left me speechless. The writing is immaturish. The dialogue gibberish. The sets look like they were from a Roger Corman movie film. The plot looked horrible. My God, what happened? This looks like George Lucas' 12-year-old nephew made it. It's awful. Oh my God, that's savage. That's savage. Oh my God, that's horrible. Okay, well, that's interesting. I mean, I don't agree with that at all. I'm very sorry that people don't agree with the movie. It isn't the worst movie ever made, of course it isn't, because it really. I had my review about it. I explained how it's actually it takes a lot of origin story, but we know where Anakin came from, and we know where Obi-Wan came from. We know where the Jedi came from in general, because we never really got that. So without the prequels, we really wouldn't know much about the Jedi Order. So there you go. But that's just the first one, and nothing about the Qui-Gon. Of course, there's a lot more reviews. There's a bunch of more reviews that I have, but actually, I'll read the last few on this page. I just because I can do like one-page reviews. Um, Junk, a total waste of time. All all in a great shame. I think Lucas must have flipped and said this is a major fan of the Holy Trilogy, to quote Stone and Parker, the creators of South Park, from their Playboy interview in Atrocity. The death of the earlier films only makes this one feel even worse. No development of character, fights without reason or logic. You know, when you come down to it, the actors look pretty bored. And after everything, I mean everything, it all came down to unfair taxes. I just cannot believe the whole thing looked like it did, and I'm truly sad for the whole catastrophe. I hope the next one is better. So sad. My very good movie. Terrible dialogue and many poor actors, some good ones. Was it the deal with what is the deal with casting a little kid as love interest for an adolescent? Creepy. I agree with that. That's a bit creepy. You know, it's just that's the only thing I can complain about the movies is the age right there. Wow. That is sad, but it's. I mean, I guess it's the truth, but like that's just like, wow. It isn't that bad. I mean, episode 1 was the first Star Wars movie I ever saw, so I don't know about in theaters, but I know that was the first movie I ever saw, in the first movie I ever saw. So it was actually, in my opinion, I loved it. I think it was fantastic. So okay, next review. Okay, so this is the first review for the first bad review, 1-star review for Star Wars Episode 2 DVD, just DVD because that's the um earliest release they had. Okay, they said the most disappointing movie in history. I was a huge fan of Star Wars 4, 5, 6, but have been utterly disappointed in the last two. Attack of the Clones has to be one of the worst movies ever made. Oh, come on! Give it a break. It had some awesome action sequences, and you know, there's a lot you can pick out that they you know reasons why it didn't live the hype. It was epic. Remember that scene in the the Jedi battle? That was epicness. The Clone Wars. Oh my god, it was an epic movie. That epic was epic. Let's see. Uh, I can't assess Hayden Christensen's acting ability because somehow Lucas is able to take astounding actors/actresses, Natalie Portman and McGregor, Samuel Jackson, and make them seem canned and cold. The plot is boring, the dialogue is miserable, and some of the battles look terrible. There is a scene where a clone army is fighting about 50 Jedi with lightsabers, and those with lightsabers look like they were dancing around. That was awesome, though. It looks more like a ballet with huge swooping movements than a sword fight. Oh my god, wow. Okay then. There is only one worthy scene, the huge battle at the end between good and evil, exciting with great effects. I heard the bad reviews, so skipped the movie in the theater and waited for the DVD. I was still amazed at how bad this movie was. It took me 3 sittings to get through the entire thing. If you watch it, be prepared for about 75 minutes of Amidala Skywalker flirting. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's. Oh, what the hell is wrong with this person? It's not that bad. Look at everything great about movie video. There's a lot. Come on, give it a break. It's a Star Wars movie. It doesn't have to be perfect. Come on. Okay, next review on episode 2 is worse than bad. Let's face it, episode 1 was tolerable, though it clearly showed that Lucas had lost touch with his fans, with science fiction, and even, sadly, with his own story. But episode 2 is just miserable. A pointless and predictable story, miserable acting, a poorly conceived and executed world, all despite lavish special effects, and some cool action sequences. If it wasn't for the Star Wars legacy, no one would watch this or give it more than 2 stars, almost as bad as the new one. As the new Planet of the Apes, and not even as good as Lost in Space, the movie. Granted, if you must see it, I suppose we all must, but don't buy it. Oh my god. If everyone's still opposed to the acting, really. Okay, I'll read one more review on this. Wake up and smell the death of your favorite movie. I admit it. When I saw this film in the theater, I was so thrilled that it wasn't the abject abomination that it was episode 1, that I actually convinced myself and some hapless others that it was a good movie. Now that episode 2 is on DVD and I have the clarity and objectivity that the passage of 2002 has afforded, I can safely say that this movie is as dreadful in almost every way as the first. To break it down into categories such as acting, writing, special effects is pointless. The sum total of all these parts is just a shocking mess of pointless dialogue. Half-baked attempts to politics, an elected queen, and silly names for bad guys. Count Dooku sounds like something I left on the John. Another thing that I'll admit is that Lord of the Rings came out and showed me the world and me what a fantasy / sci-fi movie could be after seeing The Two Towers. I just felt sorry for George Lucas. I imagined him in the theater next to me, shaking his head and looking and thinking what 6 to 11-year-old would want to play with a Gollum action figure, missing the point has become George's film legacy. The final insult to this DVD is the making of documentary, which I couldn't finish. The idea that anyone would care about the myriad details that go into an inflated, badly written, badly acted movie is just sheer arrogance. Then again, arrogance and golly is exactly what George Lucas has had in abundance back in the mid-70s. He even managed to combine it with a modicum of skill. Now we're just left with the attitude. And for Star Wars fans, that just hurts. Okay, let me go ahead and do episode 3 now. Okay, so this is for episode 3. It says worst ever. Animated, Hayden Christensen, Kashyyyk, Kung Fu Yoda, Styril. What a wretched mess. I hated Star Wars after this. Oh, come on. Episode 3 was the most epic of all of them. PU, it stinks. PU, this thing stinks. From the opening scenes where the androids make sympathetic noises and warbles to R2-D2 having combat skills, this thing smells up the galaxy like a dead womp rat. There's just no need for the comic relief and slapstick, as well as the glib dialogue. Nothing makes being a Jedi seem any better than a robe-wearing musketeer. In fact, I half expect the cast of young guns to show up and start blazing at robots. Okay. Please make them stop. What they did, thank goodness. Decided to try out one of the new versions, and this was supposed to be the best of episodes 1 through 3. Oh my god. Crappy story, terrible acting, incredibly poor casting, and the special effects haven't come far in all these years since the original Star Wars movies. Have they? At least it's over. We can hope. On the other hand, we just saw the new Star Wars movie with the youngsters, and it's a great movie. So there you go. Okay. The Force is not with this movie. Wow. I forgot how lousy that movie was. Horrible dialogue, wooden acting, and CGI efforts that look ridiculous with the passage of time. Can Disney redo this movie? How to put into words how awful this is. The scene where Obi-Wan tells Padme that Anakin is turned to the dark side pretty much says it all. Ewan McGregor and Natalie Portman both look at times like they're about to start laughing. This is like a massive moment in the film, and both actors are nearly giggling. I don't blame them a bit. I have seen a hologram of him killing younglings. Oh god. What a wasted opportunity. I hope Disney does a better job. Despite all ridiculous complaining by many Star Wars fans about the previous 2 Star Wars films being inadequate, Revenge of the Sith is, by far, the weakest of the current trilogy series. I disagree with that. I loved it. It was awesome. Sure, it has magnificent special effects and plenty of shocking scenes, but it's all about the story. Stupid. Unlike the previous 2 Star Wars films, which were masterpieces, this finale left me feeling flat as a pancake, disappointed and very annoyed. Maybe the actors were exhausted by the oppressive director, or perhaps George Lucas is getting burned out, like his scenes in the volcano. Whatever the reason, Revenge of the Sith certainly didn't capture my imagination like the previous Star Wars films did. I always found it quite annoying that George Lucas would force me to spend every load of disbelief by watching a rather lengthy hand-to-hand combat scene taking place inches above rolling volcano lava. That's true. When it's all over, one character particularly explodes, while the other only has one tiny burn mark on his clothes. It borders on camp, something George Lucas should be truly ashamed of. Nor did I find it the least bit believable to see Anakin become so totally clueless, utterly naive, and a cold-blooded killer of children all at the same time. It's just not realistic to turn him into such an utter moron. George, you blew it. Next time you make a movie, don't focus group the movie to death. You have the money and power. I just make a film from the heart. If you're tired of ideas, just get a copy of A Critic Who Did Science Fiction and an ideal parent and unleash the convenience within. 12, this is December 1st, 2012. Postscript. Now that George has sold Star Wars to Disney, I hope they will have the brains to make a Star Wars film that adults can actually enjoy. Oh my god, you serious? But Episode 3 was the best of the three. It's one of my favorite Star Wars movies. I love the prequels in general were awesome, but like Episode 3 was one of my favorites. It's funny just reading the bad reviews. My goodness, this is terrible. Wow, some person has history with these movies. They just want to hate them, don't they? Okay, let's read the reviews for Episode 4. Okay, does Lucas think we are morons? What is his goal? Is he trying to brainwash us into believing that the original trick existed? What? I own the complete trilogy DVD set. I really miss Star Wars, and I was willing to give the new edited versions a chance. The new versions made me feel sick. What? Really? I had to feel like I was ripped off. I bet about the actual releases, but these new editions made me feel like I was getting cheap Chinese bootlegs. Oh my god. Wow. I wanted to relive the experience that I had when I originally saw these movies in the early 80s. They are a huge part of my childhood. It's not too much to ask for double-sided, just one side with the new editions and one side with the originals. Spielberg was saying to do it with E.T., and I'm glad because I also prefer the original. Lucas, why are you doing this to your fans? Please consider films that you loved as a child. What if those were edited from what you remember them as? Stop questioning the authenticity of the puppets in the movies. I love the cute puppets more than their Power Ranger like CGI aliens. Oh my god. Really? That's just sad. These are really funny though. Like it's funny to see people's opinions about the re-releases. Okay. Here's another really bad one. Pretty long, but it's not that bad. I'm ashamed that I liked this movie when it first appeared in theaters. I'm ashamed that I liked this movie when it first appeared in theaters. Like Disco Dancing, it was a weird release from the Vietnam era, and it has not aged well. Its only redemption it as a children's movie, and even at that, I am proud of my children for having never made a connection with it. It is a cautionary tale. What similar streaming help heaps of self-congratulatory drivel are we applauding now? And don't try to tell me it's ironic or camp. It has never been received as either because it is neither. It is a badly written, badly directed, badly acted piece of mediocrity. A casual scan of indie low-budget mainstream sci-fi from the 1950s through the 70s will reveal numerous truly inspired flicks. Who are these closet SM freaks who crave masks and swordplay between two overweight has-been actors, and to whom appeals the precious Sand People, the Laurel and Hardy robots, and the Weimar Republic Disco Bar get help, and the pseudoscience blowing up a planet with a ray gun, again blowing up a planet with a ray gun, simply disco science. Does that ever tend in a full-on fantasy costume universe? Do not try to tell me that this is based on epic traditions. This universe is more than like the maps from Peter Pan or Lord of the Rings. The former having actually inspired the latter. Good life, explore real film, not backed up from video games and amusing parks. Apparently, Star Wars 4 is not a real film, huh? That's sad. Okay, The Phantom Menace was better. I like The Phantom Menace. It was very good. This movie was the worst by far. There was only one lightsaber fight, and they didn't even do any spins and stuff. Oh my god, that's just... Ugh, what the hell's wrong with people? Okay, interesting, very interesting. Okay, next one. Okay, well that is it for episode 4. Let's go ahead and do episode 5. Okay, so here's another one. It's pretty long. It's only a few paragraphs, but it's not quite as bad. The title is The Worst Star Wars Movie. Actually, it's considered one of the best Star Wars movies ever. Considered by many the best of the Star Wars saga, although Star Wars barely beats it. This is an overrated rehash of the original and is quite a disappointment. We're not talking about a Godfather Part 2-esque sequel here. Some people may claim the story is darker in The Empire Strikes Back than Star Wars. Star Wars was never meant to be dark, however, it was supposed to be fun, exciting children's story. Leave the dark sci-fi movies for Alien and Blade Runner. Alright? Think about this. It's the only Star Wars film where a main character does not die. Dark is not a synonym for good. Ridley Scott need not to be afraid. The characters were more complex than Star Wars. Han is a scoundrel. Knew that. Han has hots for Leia. Knew that. Han can be courageous and caring. Knew that. Luke is trying to become a Jedi. Knew that. Luke is a great hero / pilot. Knew that. Leia, the snobby princess, knew that. All the characters in the Empire Strikes Back are rehashed. Luke never changes the whole film. He doesn't adapt to Yoda's. He doesn't until Return of the Jedi. We learned two things. Vader is Luke's father, and there's a character named Yoda. Lando is just a clone of Han Solo. That is not true. That is not true. He looks like he's like anything like Han Solo. I mean, he's a smuggler, yeah, but I don't. Is he? I don't know. He is. That is not true at all. The Empire Strikes Back suffers from the middle child syndrome. It has to fill all the cracks and holes in Star Wars, so it is not half as much fun. It's not as fresh as the original, and it is not required to have an ending. So there is minimalist plot development, contrary to what others say. The Empire is hunting the Rebel Alliance, and Luke Skywalker is still training to be a Jedi Knight, and a subplot involving Han and Leia. Instead of a solid storyline, the viewer is treated to 122 minutes of cobbled together battle sequences. There is no tension building or climax, which is required for a plot, and at the end it just drops. You can just skip the movie and watch Return of the Jedi. Let me say much. Vader spell is explained better, and Yoda has more character development in the prequels. It is okay, but not a half as good as the original Star Wars. Oh my god, really? Really? It's not that bad. I mean, come on. It's one of the best of the originals. It's not that bad. Well then, that was an interesting read. Okay, I'm gonna do one more. The Empire does not strike back. What an interesting title. Okay, well, when I first watched this movie, after hearing how great it was, I was hoping to see Godfather Part 2 as a sequel, but because I really love Star Wars. Okay, that's kind of similar to the first one, the previous one I saw. However, I got the opposite. Wow, what a boring, useless film. The acting is slightly better than the original, but that's it. The story is, I mean, why didn't Luke just use the Wampa as a blanket to stay warm? What the fuck? A blanket, really? Obviously, Luke could have easily killed the Wampa. Why did Luke disobey Yoda and Ben? Do you actually think he can defeat Vader? Whatever happened to this hero I knew from Star Wars? Now he is an inept fool. I mean, the story is horrible. There is no ending, beginning, or anything. All we get are 122 minutes of clever battle sequences. There is no character development. Han and Leia have no reason to be in this movie. Except the lead Luke to Vader, which is at the end anyway. So basically, they're pointless to even have in the movie. They just should cut out the movie entirely. This is slow building and just plain boring. Just because it's dark doesn't mean it's good. Star Wars is not a homage to movies like Alien, but to ones like Flash Gordon. Anyways, this movie is overrated, and to watch it yourself, to see how bad it is. F. Wow. So apparently, according to this guy, Han and Leia are just like, they're there. They don't even need to be in the movie. Oh my god, that's horrible, but it's not even, I mean, it's obviously not true, because it's not, I wouldn't agree with that, but that's like, wow. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, that was interesting. Alright, I'll do episode 6 now. I am so disappointed. I was a huge Star Wars fan until, that's the title of the review. I am so disappointed. I was just until I purchased this. I will submit a formal return request after I write this. Where is the original movie? This flaccid rendition is complete garbage. CG. Really? I chose to watch this tonight because it didn't have CG. Bit for standing behind Jabba making faces. What the fuck? Total removal of the original Jabba's party song. I only made it to the lame CG sort of like before I couldn't take it and had to pull the plug. Wow. This most certainly isn't Return of the Jedi. Lord Lucas has gone to the dark side. So people don't like CG in Star Wars. Okay, maybe they should just not have CG in Star Wars at all. Would that be a better thing for you? Okay, here's the next one. Only the music's good. What? Really? Really? Return of the Jedi is the last film in the inept Star Wars saga and worst. The film deals with Luke Skywalker, this man who has the Force and can't act for beans, and his struggle with his father, who just so happens to be an evil man. Harrison Ford plays Han Solo and has nothing to do in this film but react to the reactable. Carrie Fisher tags along with Harrison Ford for the same reasons. This movie could have been 20 minutes long, and it would have still got its message across. But instead we have to sit through hours of boring bike chases, cute little bears, and some old guy talking and talking and talking. I don't think highly of the other Star Wars movies, but this one is the worst. Maybe even worse than Episode 1. Mr. Lucas should have stopped the Star Wars thing before he started it. Oh my god. Wow. Oh, that's just mean. Okay, let's see. Another one. Okay, worse than The Phantom Menace. But they said that about Episode 4, didn't they? I remember reading that. This is a kids review, obviously. Return of the Jedi, believe it or not, is worse than the originally released Episode 1. Return of the Jedi is the worst Star Wars movie ever because its dialogue, acting, special effects, and story are 100 times worse than the other 3 movies. The dialogue is really dull, and the characters aren't anything funny or clever. That isn't true. Han said, "This one I really it was a scene in that movie where an Ewok gives him a present, and he's like, always wanted." A favorite line actually from that episode. The acting is pretty bad. No one's heart seemed to be in it this time. The special effects, I guess, aren't too bad, but they totally stink compared to what we see nowadays in movies. The story is the film's main flaw. It's basically a remake of A New Hope with a few edit elements. This film also drags on forever. I kept wanting to get up and leave, but I was at a friend's house when I saw it, so I had to be polite and sit through it. Oh god. In complete agony. Some of the lines in the film are so cheesy I cringe. The Ewoks, the fuzzy little teddy bears which pretty much take up the whole last half hour of the film, are so annoying. The ending is abrupt. The last shot of the film is just a big group of people standing in front of the camera looking stupid and probably thinking, when the heck will this ever end? I was thinking the same at that point too. Highly unrecommended. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, last review on this. How can people like this? As to be honest, I didn't watch the movie to the end. After the girl, whatever her name is, choked. They don't even know who Princess Leia is. He doesn't know who Carrie Fisher is. I mean, obviously, when this review was written, she hadn't died yet. But like, what? Whatever her name is, choked the job out of the. I turned off the television. Oh my god. It left me thinking, what do all these fans see in this mess? It's not a science fiction movie. It is more like a doll theater. The dancing number and the whole Jabba the Hutt chantings reminded me more of Sesame Street than science fiction. I know the translated robot is meant to be funny, and R2 meant to be cute, but I just find them boring. However, the worst thing was the retarded animal called Chewbacca. Oh come on, he's the best part of it. Every time he started his ugly howl, I just wanted to get into the TV screen and chop his head off with that kind of cool laser sword. Cool Lego sword. Star Wars may be of historical interest. I could compare it with Plan 9 from Outer Space. Plan 9 is better though, because that film was funny. This one is just irritating. That there are so many devoted fans out there amazes me. Well, of course, Star Wars is a pop culture icon. What do you expect? They're insulting Chewbacca. Retarded animal called Chewbacca? What? That guy, that person is just not a... Wow. That is not a nice review. Okay. Alright, let's do episode 7 now. Okay, so here's episode 7's reviews. This movie is terrible. Star Wars 7 is a movie that is terrible. The only reason why I looked at it was because of the name. George Lucas had nothing to do with writing of this, and I see. This chapter of the franchise sucks. It's not worth it. Killing main characters doesn't help at all. With them mentioning other and giving them a 30-second cameo appearance sucks. My opinion, I give Star Wars 7 and a 2 rating. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Oh. Okay. This is nothing more than a ripoff of Episode 4. At least George gave us an original content. Oh. All of them, the titles are all of them are just saying 1 star. I don't really read the title. Disappointed in the characters and lackluster script compared to earlier episodes. Okay. The Force is not with this one. I'm sorry, but this was a pale remake of Star Wars 4: A New Hope. Planet Killer base horrible name, bigger Death Star, Rey equals Luke, Jakku equals Tatooine, Kylo Ren versus Han Solo equals Vader versus Obi-Wan. Bad try renaming the Empire the First Order, same thing. Kylo Ren was a really bad angsty knockoff of Darth Vader. The mask was just to look cool. Wow. Crap compared to previous Star Wars. Han Solo dies, killed by his own son. Luke Skywalker is a recluse hiding from his past. What a load of crap, Lucas. I am in my 50s and I've been a fan of Star Wars since the 1970s. If you are a long-time fan, you will not be impressed. Wow. Save your money or go watch Rogue One, a much better Star Wars movie. They spelled Rogue One. They spelled Rogue, but wrong. Disney did horrible with this one. First off, they dumped the EU in the trash and said, "Screw you!" to all the fans in the 40 years of stories that created. That's true. Kind of dumb seeing as how they could have turned all the really good stories into animated movies / TV shows and lasted for years just on that. No. Instead, they thought they knew better and made this pile of crap. The only good thing about this is that they were able to get the original mostly cast to come back and the actress that plays Rey. Rey would have made a great Jaina Solo. I think that's the daughter of Han Solo, I think. In the extended universe, I think. The story in this one is just a huge rip up of A New Hope, and the actual story is a bit lame. Finn's character is amazingly annoying, almost to the level of Jar Jar annoying. Oh, come on. You're secretly hoping he is dead, and at the end of the movie, unfortunately, we all know he is alive. His character adds absolutely nothing to the story. Really, I really think JJ had no clue what he was doing other than he wanted to add a special one of a kind like Yoda character to his franchise so he could feel special. He blew it big time. Kilo, apparently he's named Kilo, is another annoying character this time. I blame it on the actor, not a good fit, and story-wise, he should be Jason, not Ben. Why the hell would Han and Leia name their kid Ben? A person Han only knew for maybe a day and Leia never even met makes no sense. No, it makes no sense, sorry. They spelled it wrong. Ben should be Luke's son, not Hans. Hans JJ is an idiot. If you know an episode nothing about Star Wars and you have only kind of seen the other 6 or 7, if you've seen Rogue One movies, you may enjoy this one. It could make for an interesting science fiction movie, just not a Star Wars movie. Oh. Lazy and stomps all over the work, heart, and talent that's been put into the last 30 years of Star Wars. At 30, okay, that's not bad. That's not very long. At 30 years of countless people putting their souls into this brand with comics, novels, video games, and many other forms of work, Disney erases all of it and copies the original the old trilogy, not just with a few things, almost everything. The style, way the characters look, heck, even the plot was mimicked. After they had 30 years of ideas to pull from, just like DC does. They could have remade events in the continuity in entirely different ways and changed them up or something. No, they literally mimic a movie plot turn for turn, and they guaranteed Lucas would have had been part of the process and had created if he felt like it. He even said they wouldn't have to listen to him, but he wanted to be a part of it somehow, because the characters. Close the doors on him immediately. I would give it that in a vacuum, this is okay movie with a good action, plots, and characters. But we're not in a vacuum, and this whole movie was a repeat, and we were all ready for a new Star Wars experience on the big screen. If you don't share these views, then you either don't know about Disney deleting the last 30 years of Star Wars canon and how it worked for you, or you don't truly love Star Wars. I do like this movie, and I own it, but this being an okay movie, it doesn't make it okay, and to destroy all that heart and soul that went into this brand. Okay, I'm gonna finish up with this review right now. Wait for it to come out on TNT. So that's the channel, actually. This movie, by far, is one of the worst I've watched in my lifetime. With all the hype, I was looking forward to the next installment to the Star Wars saga. From the beginning, this movie disappointed me. The rogue stormtrooper that spoke in modern hip vernacular to the mystery bad guy, and why did he need to wear a mask? The chemistry between Harrison Ford and Harry Fish had long since passed. I could really go on, but this review is reminding me I wasted $28. Oh, man. Wow. That is unfortunate. Okay, that was episode 7's review. I'll go ahead and finish this episode with episode 8. Okay, so this is going to be for episode 8. This obviously hasn't officially been released yet. This is just like the movie itself, probably from the theater. I don't know, it doesn't make sense. Whatever. They must have gotten it somehow. What a disappointment of all the series. What a disappointment of all the series. This has to be the worst. Seems like they cooked up a plot in story development that was an afterthought. And Luke never leaving his planet and disappearing, it was just horrible. What a waste of a franchise. Oh man. Horribly written and directed. Oh, this is really bad. Ryan Johnson is a failure. This is really bad. It's got its heart with wasted or underdeveloped characters. Save yourself the watch time and just watch a recap vid on YouTube. Ryan Johnson failed miserably as a storyteller. Oh, his plot is jumbled and inconsistent, almost like he has never seen Star Wars. I cannot believe Miss Kennedy let this out the door. The characters they have been saving feel wasted with no real development, and staples of the franchise cast aside for low bro fluff feelings or sketch comedy. Oh, sucks. Movie sucked, and that's sad. Just a bad regurgitation of a previous George knew when to sell. His hand wasn't on the plot of this except by copying his previous work and, of course, the CGI which belongs to him. But it probably makes a good ride for Disney. Terrible film. It seems they made up these bizarre side stories that went on for a good portion of the film that had no impact on the story. The side stories appeared to have just been filler content. A lot of the mystery that surrounded The Force Awakens was completely thrown out of the window. In addition, a lot of the building up in The Force Awakens was completely resolved within a second of this film. The characters had a lot of on one-liners that seemed like it wanted to come off as funny, but instead it came off as awkward for the characters. I feel like an hour of this film could have been cut, and it wouldn't impact the story at all. I'm completely baffled after watching this film. Oh, ouch. Just terrible. After discussing with my other real Star Wars fan of with my other real Star Wars fans of George Lucas, we're hoping that there will be a storyline following Rogue One. I wouldn't want to see another hack version of this epic saga. Not sure why The Last Jedi had to be wrong. No need to expound as the other detail. Poor reviews say it all. I hope whatever comes next is not directed by Mr. Johnson, as Kevin said. Elvis says, apparently he's a terrible director then. Horrible. Save your money. There's not much to say other than it was horrible. Don't waste your money. Even for hardcore Star Wars fans, this is a piece of garbage. I'm just glad I didn't see it in the theater. I would have been more upset at the waste of money. The acting was thin. I think that's bad. But I could make up for the. I think I meant actually the acting was fine. I think they probably missed the E. But I could make up for the incoherent writing. Mark Hamill let the director know before filming he didn't like a thing about what he had wrote for Luke, and he was right. Oh, on par with the prequels. Oh no, this movie is absolutely terrible. I mean, terrible. It's one of the stupidest things I've ever watched. Luke was wasted, just another original cast member to give a cameo before being killed off. Kylo continues to be a disappointment as a villain, and I'm not talking. And I'm not taken with Rey at all as a protagonist. Carrie Fisher, rest her soul, is a joy to see as she always was. Phasma returns to do absolutely nothing interesting. The opening scene with BB plugging the circuit board like it was a barrel of water developing a dynamic leak was almost enough to make me turn it off early. I am really not impressed. The Force Awakens gave me some hope. Rogue One was a very solid Star Wars themed war epic. I expected more here. The action in this film isn't even engaging. The lightsaber battle between Rey, Kylo, and the Imperial Guards is some of the most absurd, badly choreographed nonsense I've ever seen. I can't shit on this movie enough. It was a legitimate, sincere disappointment. Oh. 1 star. This movie is awful. Literally Force flies through space. What is this movie? Wow. Terrible letdown. Not worth the time or money. Absolutely without a doubt, the worst of the movies. Even episodes 1, 2, and 3 were better. It's a terrible shame because there was so much talent involved. Actors, special effects, directing, camera work, stunts, etc. This could have been great except for one little thing. The stupid as F scripts. Do yourself a favor, just rewatch the original 3 movies and hope that the Han Solo project turns out good. Okay, so I'm gonna read two more of them, and they're actually pretty long, so I'll have to just get through them as quick as I can. Walked away from this movie with yellow eyes. Personally, I realized that some of you generally liked the movie, and that's perfectly fine. But berating others for hating it and accusing them of being sexist, angry children who are mad because the movie didn't go their way is just silly and incredibly immature. I went into this movie not knowing what to expect, but excited nonetheless, and I came away from it hating everything with the words Star Wars and Disney on it. While I didn't love The Force Awakens, I did like all the new characters introduced in The Last Jedi. Introduced. In The Last Jedi, however, I couldn't stand any of them. The conflicted but cool Kylo Ren was now a confusing and annoying brat, and the competent General Hux was now a disrespected cartoon villain. The very likable Poe was now a hot-headed idiot, and the incredibly interesting ex-Stormtrooper Finn was just there. Then there's Rey, a character who I actually found endearing in The Force Awakens, but was completely unserviceable in The Last Jedi. She goes to Luke Skywalker for training despite already knowing just about every Force technique there is with absolutely no effort on her part. Instead, she spends most of the film still Luke son of Darth Vader Skywalker, who is now a weak, grumpy, selfish, and annoying shell of what he used to be. One of the most iconic and beloved characters of all time, known for their bravery, optimism, kindness, and determination, is regulated to being a useless coward sucking down green alien jets on an alien in the middle of nowhere. And for what? So that expectations can be subverted so Rey can look better than him while replacing him, which leads me to something else I hated about this new Star Wars movie. Wasted potential. Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, and the rest all together for the first and last time in a Star Wars movie, and they wasted it. Not a single scene shared with these iconic characters all together, and thanks to Carrie's death, that will never happen. Han dies in The Force Awakens without ever meeting Luke or even Lando. Lando Calrissian is a no-show and a no mention whatsoever, and Admiral Akbar is killed off dismissively in the background. Seriously, I have seen writers die with more fanfare. What was even the point of bringing back these old characters? This movie left me utterly drained of all enthusiasm for everything Star Wars. I don't care about Episode 9, the solo movie, or even the game, which is another mess. I've never actually hated that movie before. I've been bored by them. I've been annoyed by them, but never felt full in hate. I hate The Last Jedi. Wow. Okay, this is the last one I'm agreed. This is not a Star Wars movie in terms of characters and storytelling. Goodness, where to start? I saw this in the theater, and I've tried to find a redeeming quality in it. After The Force Awakens, I felt confident that Disney squiring Lucasfilm was a match made in heaven. My favorite vacation company married one of my favorite movie companies. What could go wrong? The Last Jedi could. Let me start with the plot, with the parts I loved. The visuals, amazing. Some of the best I've seen. I have nitpicks here or there with some of it, but not enough to take away from my enjoyment there. Second, some of the unexpected turns the movie took were welcome surprises to me. The events with Snoke, fantastic. I think it was unexpected, and I was actually shocked while watching the whole sequence. Mark Hamill's performance were excellent, as was the back and forth between Adam Driver and Daisy Ridley. Unfortunately, this wasn't enough to care what a bad job of storytelling and an even worse job of character development. The bad. I'm trying not to have spoilers in this review, so I can't call specific plot points, but what there was of a plot anyway. But perhaps the easiest way to summarize my experience was how I felt at the time the credits rolled. Empty. First, I completely understand that it's the middle movie of an arc, and it's like like Empire, it's supposed to leave you with the feeling that everything is in deep doo-doo. That's fine, but even Empire left you with hope. This left me with empathy. Thanks to destroying pretty much every character, old and new, in the franchise, I'm left with I just don't care about anyone. I don't care about Episode 9. I don't feel like I have any connections with the new characters at all. They were squandered with horrific character development and quick-witted dialogue. You weren't even brought close to any of them with struggles or experiences we can relate to. And many of the decisions that were made were arbitrary to fit the extremely poor storytelling and narrative the writers wanted to push. Characters that were being built up to actually be something were cheapened in many ways. The First Order isn't frightening. Kylo was taken even further down the temper-laden child path, and Rey, Finn, Poe were just not developed at all. Oh, come on. In many ways, they were pushed back. Some of the explanations for how they were able to accomplish things from the writers via books and interviews are just plain lazy cop-outs to explain bad choices and horrible storytelling. I'm not even going to address what they did with Mark Hamill. His acting was wonderful given the simply awful writing choices made for his character. I could write much more, but this is enough to make my point. Overall, I'm ashamed Disney's Lucasfilm allowed this to be shown to the public. It seems they couldn't resist the need to inject a lot of the polarizing realities of our current PC culture into the film as well. Many very obvious decisions made in this storytelling to push political social views that are currently running rampant in our society. This is no business in Star Wars storytelling. I'm left with an empty feeling as well as a complete lack of interest in the future of the franchise. It seems that Lucasfilm doesn't get it, and they continue to push this movie and the decisions around it as everything fine, which is far from the truth. I don't know how they can fix this, but I'll do it. I'll the way and see how the next movies are received before I watch another. Unfortunately, as a lifelong fan of the franchise, this is the first time I had the desire to own a Star Wars film. Oh, oh, god damn, those were just painful to read. But it's funny. It's really interesting to see people's opinions about it, and it's always I don't agree with any of that. But like, wow. So yeah, that's really all I can say about that. This is basically that is gonna do it for this episode of my new reaction series where I react to bad reviews on good movies. Clearly all of them were I loved every single episode of Star Wars, obviously. I'm not gonna do the anthology movies because I don't really have reason to, but still, I think it's interesting to see what people's opinions are on the movies, and they're funny to read because a lot of people can just like they hate on them. And it's like, oh, really? Come on, really, kind of thing, you know. But yeah, I'm really glad I did this. So let me know in the comments what you thought of this first episode, and let me know if you want me to continue doing it. If you don't give me any feedback, I'll just assume that's a yes. Maybe I'll probably just do it anyway because it's fun to do. Usually, that's how I do things. If no one really cares about a series, but I have fun doing it, I'll keep making it. So yeah, I'm really thinking this is gonna go pretty well. Just doing our new reaction series is actually gonna be pretty good. So yeah, anyway, that's gonna do it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. I really do appreciate the support. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe for more episodes of this reaction series, another series that I do. And I'll be back next time with another episode. Alright? See ya.